What's up, guys? It is the Bad Wolf, and of course, I'm your international man of mystery, Mr. Sexy himself, Mr. Intelligent, Mr. Stole your girl. Well, no, I'm actually taken now, so you can keep her. But anyway, because it's far cheaper. It is the Wolf. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Welcome to the tribe. Hit that bell, like, and subscribe. The truth will not be denied. Just your foreign national, born natural. Let's get into it. As always, guys, you can find my information on blacksite32.com or jamesclovett.com. And down below is a link to join the newsletter. Why? Because I've noticed a lot of you guys are not getting some of my content. You're not getting notified of certain Zoom events, not getting notified of Zoom conferences. So please, please, please join the newsletter. It's as simple as going to blacksite32.com/newsletter. That's it. Take you 2 seconds. Help me to build that list because apparently they don't like what I'm teaching you guys. So I need your help. I'm asking for it. There, I said it. I'm a grown ass man and I'm saying I need your help. Join, sign my newsletter now. Get rebates, discounts, inside information. Let's make it happen, Captain. If you guys want it, let's do it. All right. So this particular video is about, can you name it? Wolf, what does that mean? Well, let's start over. Okay. A lot of people out here feel certain types of ways. And if you haven't noticed, I get a lot of attacks from AIs and agents, whatever else, gurus out there, people of my same color as gurus out there on their own channels. Guys, it's not about us. It's about getting out good information out there. And here's the thing, if you're not hurting anybody and it's not out there written about, you can do it. But some people out there want to argue. And do you understand what you're even arguing about? Like, a lot of people, sorry, I had some pop-ups. They want to argue that, well, the law doesn't say you can do that. We are above the law, not in the way that like we can just do whatever we want to do, but we are the creators of the law. The creation, the law, cannot be more powerful than the creator. So even if it's not a numerated right, we can push for it. We don't have to sit back and wait for the politicians and Congress and whatever else to think of our needs. Because guess what, stupid? They don't care. They're not going to do it. They're not going to try to do anything that benefits you other than tell you they're going to do stuff to benefit you. And then what do they all do? Huzzah! They get into office and they do whatever the hell they want to do. Our country is unique. We have the ability that if we see a right, say like right to travel, and it's not an enumerated right, which is true, we can petition for it. We can already do it. We've already been winning. So how are you going to say it's not a thing? Just because you don't do it and you're not smart enough to overstand the information. So keep standing underneath the dick of the desk of the politicians and the enforcement and the judges out there who want to deprive you of your rights. How are you out there suppressed by the very system? And then you want to tell other people not to exert rights that when they are not hurting anybody. Everything in our life has to be numbered. We're not some country where we're owned by the king or the queen or the whoever. Get it right. And have you guys ever noticed how like they always throw all these different laws, at us? Uh Administrative law, public law, blah blah blah, but you never hear them mention constitutional law. You don't find that suspicious? When was the last time you heard a cop or a judge say, "Hey, hey, you're breaking constitutional law"? I mean, it is the superior law in the United States of America. I mean, I assume you have Google or some search engine to Google that and ask it, is the Constitution the supreme law of the United States of America? Go ahead, I'll wait. I digress. Let's get into it. So when I say, can you name it? What do I really mean? So let's start all the way back over. First of all, we're not in like Russia or Korea or China or some country where, you know, the government is the power. Here in our country, we the people are the power. They're trustees for us, unless we operate as a member of theirs, which is a 14th Amendment US citizen. Some of you guys don't know this. Some of you guys were never Boy Scouts to read the Boy Scout book, like I am as an Eagle Scout. Some of y'all have actually not even really read the full Constitution. I'm not talking about you good people. I'm talking about the naysayers out there, really. You know, the little demons in their little balconies. He's And once again, it's been a long time since I said hello to the Department of State, hello to my law enforcement, hello to the FBI, hello to the little cabal groups who like to watch these videos, because I know you guys do. Never forget, game recognizes game, right, boys? I'm stepping away. When I say, can you name it? And we start at the beginning of this really means who can name something? Only somebody who owns it or the thing can name it. It seems like a simple concept, but can any of you guys name my house? Can you name my dog? Can you give my a name? No, because you don't own it. Can I do whatever I want to do with my house? Some of y'all said no. Some of y'all said yeah. Now we're getting somewhere. I need to open your mind a little bit. There we go. You just reach in there and squish your melon a little bit. Okay, let me clean off that pineal gland, which you know is a crystal, right? Crystals transmit and receive. Okay, anyway, we'll leave it alone. Um, if we start with ownership, who owns the thing? Somebody who bought it, somebody who made it. Okay. Is there any law that requires you, enforces you by law, which are still man-made laws, to register your kid, your house, your car, your own ass, anything? No, because that would be slavery. If you create a name not already in their system, it's a private name. It's unincorporated. It's your constitutional thing and right. If you have a kid, if you buy a house, if you get a car, whatever it is, there's no law that says you have to register it. Now, there are laws for if you're operating in this capacity. And remember, you have two. One is a national, one is a US citizen. National, not so much. US citizen, absolutely have to. This is why a police officer has to register his car and his gun and all these other things. He has to, even though he himself too, and they don't like to, some of them don't know this, some of them don't like to hear it. He's a national too. But the moment he puts on his suit, the moment he steps foot into the police precinct, he's a U.S. citizen. He said he would be and that he is. Identify as one. He has the right by law, 8 USC 1401A, national and citizen at birth, to reside himself, to regard himself as a U.S. citizen in order to get the job. Now that he has the job, he has to perform, act, because that's why they're called actors. He's not the law. What he's doing is operating within a jurisdiction that is their own membership laws and rules for their people, which are other U.S. citizens under the 14th Amendment, or people, nationals, or foreign individuals outside of his jurisdiction who are within the same area he shares if they cause public controversy. This is why a cop, by law, by right, by the Constitution, federal rights, cannot just pull over and bother a U.S. or excuse me, I was going to say U.S. citizen, but U.S. national or national, private citizen, foreign national, anybody foreign in regard, unless they cause a controversy. Because those people, if they're doing it right, are not members of their public, or at least in that moment. When you own or have created something, now you know there's no law regarding requiring you to register it unless you're a US citizen. This is why years ago, when they asked for all of the gold, GOLD, I'm sure that tripped a censor or two, they were only talking to US citizens when they took all the gold from the people back in what, the 30s, 40s, 40s? Educational information and only. From my perspective, that was the gold heist. Nationals didn't know they had a choice. So everybody, well, most people gave up a lot of their gold, not all of it. I'm sure there's still a ton out there or more. Good for you guys as nationals. If you own something lock, stock, and barrel, it is yours. Now, I had one guy who was doing the land patent and pulled his land patent forward in the county, which was their administrative department, not the legal department, told him, well, we can't accept your land patents. Why not? Usually you guys want these things because they're worth money. Have we fallen off the stupid truck into the stupid lake and got covered in stupid? Stupid McStupid? Because even I know how your system works, guys. But see, they didn't want to accept it because then they have to honor it. But see, here's the thing, guys. You don't need them to honor it. If they do, that's great. This is your claim to the land. When you buy a house, it comes with everything included and about that parcel of land. If you can find a land patent, it's valid. They try to tell him, oh, well, it's not valid. It's only for the first person who did it, and then maybe they're heirs. Okay, well, guess what? Legally, everybody who owned the property was an heir of the property. He sold it to somebody else. But you could argue that all day. Long story short, if you buy the property and it's your intent to own the property and not be the tenant of the property, so pay attention to your paperwork when you're buying a house. Gem drop. Then you get all of its effects unencumbered, or at least it should be, which includes the land patent. So the land patent is just useless. No, it's useless in their system, but you have a right to it. That document is still a patent. Whoever's holding the actual patent is the holder in due course. When you own something, like in my other video, I said, when did your automobile that you bought at the car lot become a motor vehicle? Judge, Mr. Law Enforcement, honest question. Because if I do a commercial transaction and I buy this car on the lot, it doesn't say it's a motor vehicle anywhere on there. So the legal commercial definition of that vehicle when I'm buying off the lot is in fact an automobile, which in Black's Law Dictionary basically says that it's a private product for transportation for, meaning you can't use it for. It doesn't say anything about registration or whatever else. The law states a U.S. citizen, which is a police officer, must register their vehicle. There's anything in there about a national, and we know nationals are real, and we know that nationals are not the same as a U.S. citizen. 8 FAM 301.1-1 letter B. So they're unique, but you have both. You've got a sword and a shield. It's not a shield. They're two separate things. In one capacity, just like a police officer at home, private capacity, at work, public capacity. Same thing with a judge. When they're operating as these actors, they have to act, they have to put on a show, no matter how they feel for the day or whatever else, or what they feel about it. But they're not, because they are being controlled and poisoned and biased by upper management and people who don't want this information out. They don't believe you can handle the information. They think you guys are going to run amok. They think the whole system is going to burn down because you guys would get your freedoms. Well, I'm sorry, the system wasn't burned down before the system was implemented. I seem to remember a utopia in America where we had surplus of money and no personal or state income taxes. And it was all tariffs when done properly. I don't so I don't understand. I don't understand. Please help me understand. Remember, just a madman in a box. Ain't nothing changed since day one. So when you obtain something or create something, unless you're pulling trees from somebody else's property, I can't steal Paul's apple trees and make some rocking chairs and benches and then be like, haha, I can sell them here. Those are his property. If you have your own thing, you obtain it and it's yours. No one else can lay a claim to it. You don't have to let anybody else claim it. But what do we do? Because we've been taught this, we've been brainwashed. We've been brainwashed because they look at it as, well, we can't really trust people to do their own thing and they'll be disorderly. People are already disorderly. The good people out there are going to still be good. The bad people are still going to do bad without this information or with this information. So, really, what is it then about? Because gun laws don't seem to affect anybody but the good people. Bad people still seem to go out there and find them, make them do whatever they got to do, steal them, whatever else. And there's still, do you think there's one bad guy out there goes, man, I would love to be a bad guy today? Stupid law. So it's not about them. It's about the good people. They want that extra control because they can't control the bad ones. And then it's funny, if they really want to control the bad ones, then why do they let them out? Why do they let out people who do essays and whatever else? Why do they let them back out? They should be locked up forever. Oh, then you hear the system, the people in the system. Well, he deserves a second chance to do what? Offend again, so it makes you money? Because I would like for me and mine to be safe, but they don't want you to have any of that stuff. But I digress. Let's get back to the ownership. So when you own something, it is yours. There's no law requiring you to register it. However, if you want certain privileges that come along with the registration to register that product, that service, your privacy, your kids, your house, your car, etc. If you want the benefits that are being offered, you must remove it yourself because they can't forcibly do it. They can trick you into doing it. They can make it seem casual. Oh, everybody here, everybody at the party's already sucked my dick. I'm sorry. Sorry, I thought we were talking about Diddy. Um, but in fact, that's what he did. So that's funny. Not funny, but funny. Anyway, so they can't force you to register it. But if you want the benefit, then you must change the and share because you're not giving them complete ownership and control, but you're letting them intercede like a not so silent investor. They didn't give you anything other than a benefit to you bringing the asset or yourself to the table. So, how is it right that they get to tell you what to do with it? I'm waiting. Go ahead. If I bring all the stuff to the table, so I'm supposed to then just let you tell me what I can do with it? Well, in fact, that's exactly what you're doing. Why would you do that though? Because you didn't know any better. And that's the way other people who were tricked into it before you have done it. Same thing with your employment. Oh, everybody fill out the W-4, put on there. Go ahead, you can get the little benefit by checking off if you want to. But then recently, apparently, my videos are making a big splash out there. A member of Congress said, "Well, the citizen out there should be taking advantage of, of their how do you phrase it? The ability to not pay tax with their W-4s." Oh, somebody's watching my videos. Never heard any of them say it before. Haven't seen anybody making the videos talking about it how I am. I haven't seen anybody saying it. I mean, now, yeah, but before, so a lot of people out there knew, but they didn't want to tell you guys. None of these other gurus, whatever, made a video on it. And then there was a time where there was no little bar option on the W-4 to check off exempt, but now there is. So it's like somebody's been watching and learning because otherwise that's obfuscation of your rights. See, they don't have to explain it or make an announcement that it's there. They just have to, but it has to be there. And by law, guys, it has to be able to be processed by a person of average intelligence for it to be, you know, copacetic. When you register, so let's take a look. Let's go into Black's Law. Matter of fact, let's get the new Black's Law. Private income. Interesting. PQP, profit, slavery. So res in transit, transitu, Latin, thing in transit. So res is a thing. Okay. Res, an object, interest, or status, as opposed to a person. The real property in, say, Colorado. Wonder why they put the Native Americans on reservations. The subject matter of a trust, the res. Okay, let's get the register. We're not, that's just things we're finding along the way. Let's keep going. REG is the abbreviation for regulation, to be regulated, to register. Oh, so to register is to be under a regulation. Hmm. And if it can be regulated, then somebody owns that whole jurisdiction, not geographically, but that which can be found within its system, the register. Register, an official list of names, an official or officials, list of officials who officiate, which is the opposite of natural, wild, savage, unregulated. Doesn't mean untamed. Names of peoples, companies, etc., especially a book containing such a list. A governmental officer who keeps official records. So the registrar employs a register of deeds, employ to make money. So if did you get all that? So when you register, you're giving it over because reg also means king, though it's not in here, or to render on to the king, or to render or turn over to the king or head authority. Register, register of deeds, register of land, register of wills, all the same. You're bringing your private thing and matter into their jurisdiction and their control. Not full ownership to them, but enough that they can tell you what to do. Like when you go to work, when you fill out all those paperwork, you're registering to work there. You're becoming official, an official member of theirs. To enter in a public registry, register a new car. To enroll formally, to make a record of counsel registered, to have objections, three objections. Four, lawyer, party or witness. Register is of a lawyer, party, or witness to check in with the clerk of court before a judicial proceeding. Please register at the clerk's office before entering the courtroom. Ah, to file a security issue. Ah, Securities and Exchange Commission. Register number, register of action, registrar. Now let's see if we can find regulation. It mentions that. Regulation. It's a medieval Latin term. To control by rule. I'm specifically making this video for a lady on TikTok because, you know, she was saying, well, just because you register to vote doesn't register. It's in the word. It's in the dictionary. It's in the definition. To control by rule. Rule. Else simply a nominalization, earlier English, to regulate, having essentially the same derivation. Control over something by rule or restriction. To restrict. So either they're controlling you or they're restricting you, or they're controlling you and you're being restricted. Police regulation, an ordinance rule, which is not positive or the actual law, but a rule or a code enacted by a municipality or a county. So they have their own rules for their area. Hold on. That applies to the res idents who res their identity or recited and enter and wiped or claimed or cleaned res their identity of a particular region or district. So they came into it, and not only did they come into the area, that doesn't give ownership, but then they themselves applied to vote or register or whatever else, and to claim themselves as a resident, res my identity, member of the municipal area, district, or region. See District of Columbia. Y'all, some of y'all ain't reading. Said enough here. Only U.S. citizens by law are required to register their stuff. Nationals are not. That's the private side.